Hey, could you guys hear me in YouTube land? Try to share my camera here. It's not working, shockingly. So Dan, if you're on here, once again, the camera's not working for the YouTube stream. It's working on Discord, but OBS is not working. So Dan, if you hear me, let me know. All right, can you guys hear me though on YouTube? Thank you, Mark. Where you been, Mark? I haven't seen you. I thought you should take a world vacation with all your profits. I'll be back in a minute after these disclosures here. One disclosure.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial, and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial stability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites or digital venues are for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will prompt that losses may be limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept full responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment in most Apple Trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers harmless without reservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations, some of which are described herein. No representation is being made that any account below is likely to achieve prompts or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit of hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program and spot out trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these trades have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may have or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to markets in general or to implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in the preparation of hypothetical performance results at all, of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
All right, good morning. Markets are actually moving around today. Reminds me of the good old days when we actually had trade and didn't just sit around waiting for a headline. So I've done multiple things today. We'll go over them. I'm currently short a couple ES from earlier. I posted this in the trade room. There's one person participating in there today, and so the rest of you trade room members all get Fs. As I keep telling, I go on a rant every day about it for my trade room. You know, if you're not going to participate, you're not going to get better, right? Like, say what you see, post charts. It's like I'm just not understanding why you guys don't want to get better. But I'll save my rants for the private trade room. All right. So anyway, I took a short here. NES. There is a something came out with Trump and Xi. You know, usual headline, ridiculousness. I didn't take a sexy Gexy because the relative volume was off the charts here. You can see right here. So I don't take sexy Gexies. We'll go over all these trades. If you're new here, I'm basically going over every one of these trading strategies. I have position trading strategies where we're looking for bigger moves. I have auto fade strategies where I'm jumping right in the middle, jumping in the trade right in the middle of the iceberg event, stop iceberg event, and then we have reversion strategy. So I basically have taken one of every one of these today already. So again, I'm fully aware I talk fast and I'm covering things quickly, but I'm trading live. I'm trading multiple markets, multiple strategies. So that's just the way it is. If you want to slow it down, I have in my trade room, I have 5 years of webinar replays you can watch. You can go to Bookmap. I've been doing webinars for them for 7 years. You can just put my name in the YouTube channel if you want to slow things down. And but when I'm trading live, I just don't have time to go over the basics. And then I have my courses. We'll get into all that. So the idea is, like, if you're following me, you come in my trade room, you can learn while I'm trading live, but it's going to be difficult because I'm going pretty fast. So that's why you want to get the courses, fast track your learning, and then when you watch me, you know what you're saying. All right. So anyway, this was it was before the open here. So the market was here, market was up here. This is a regular trading hours chart, so you don't actually see the activity up to this, but there was a stop run into this zone. I took that fade off of this guy here. I got short. I got out of Summit X3. some more here at the blind spot 3. So these are method Q levels. These options levels where dealers are hedging, right? So I know there's going to be some kind of reaction very likely. And we actually have trades for those reactions as well. We'll get into those. I already took a couple of those today too. But I got out of more here, and I still have, what do I have left here? I gotta remember what I'm doing here. I've done a ton. Feels like the good old days when there's actual trade. So we'll go over these trades in crude. I posted this in the trade room before they happened, as they were happening actually. This was Bark, Lick, failed balance breakout, and then I have one little guy left of the MES, smaller profit there, and then I'm currently short the CL. I got out of my crude and into a short when it struggled at the red lug here. So these are my main targets when I put on trades. I will piece out at important levels, but as if it gets to the lug, these things are so powerful. I call them the lugs, so Ludwig levels. I will get out of my trade, and then there's actually a stop run into the lug, and that is one of my trading strategies here as well. The slug, stop run at major lug, take any trade as a fade trade with a stop run. There's a bunch of stuff going off of gold here. We'll look at it in a second. Take any trade as a fade trade with a stop run and no major lug. So that's what that trade is. So I got out of my longs once this event here in crude turned bearish. The way I judge that is if the market can. So these are the stop iceberg events that you see here. This is with the CME MBO enhanced data that we can see this stuff. Incredible, most incredible edge I've ever seen in my trading career. So anyway, when the market, I wait for it to show its hand on most of my strategy, meaning if it can push a 5-minute ATR out of the zone, that tells me it's a bearish event. So I was long and held it to the lug. I got out, and then I turned around and got short the slug here. So I'm short. What I did take here earlier. So what I'm doing here is these SI events I have 6 distinct stop iceberg events that I look for, right? And then, so that's that activity, right? So you see here, before the actual crude open, the pit open, even though there's no pit anymore, there were buy stops and buy ice. That is the 7th wonder, the 6th wonder of the world, the unicorn. You don't see it very often. That is inherently bullish in its own right? And then the way I trade these events is I'm looking for these events in important areas. That's where the trading strategies come in. So all these trading strategies are just me looking for stop iceberg events in my important areas. What I tell traders all the time, it's not for me to tell you what you think is an important area. You may be looking at something completely different, right? Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci, whatever you guys are looking at. It's not for me to tell you if you think those are important or not. What I am telling you is to demand a stop iceberg event in that area, and it enhances the area and improves if there's actually participation in that area. So that's what I'm doing here with this stuff. Hold on. Okay, so let me turn on my fan, I guess it's really hot in my office. My head's starting to pound too for some reason. All right. So anyway, so the position tradings I took, and we'll just go over these really quick. Everything's kind of quiet right here. So this one was kind of marginal, but I took it just because of the look of crude. So what I do as well is I come up with a thesis in these markets based on structure, market structure, and then if it fits the narrative as far as the stop iceberg events, in the direction of my guess, the thesis is a guess, then I trade bigger size in that direction. So this was a failed balance breakdown. Thing tried to break down, gapped up through it. The event was right here. The entry was right at this high volume. No, I like to see the. All right, we're gonna have headlines flying off too, guys. So again, all bets are off. This is the way it's been for basically 5 months now. It's been absolutely brutal. You're in a great trade. Headline comes out again, like I was saying, up up until today, basically. There's just been no trade. It just sits here and does nothing, waiting for a headline, then it rips off the page. All right, I guess they're still on the call too, so it should be really fun when that comes out. Anyway, failed balance breakdown. So I have a trade for that setup, right? And then because it's a bullish event or bullish look, I will trade double size longs. So that's what I did off of that, and that's those trades you saw there. So I took double size longs, and I got out of the lug there. And then I'm short I am short slug. This isn't an inflection zone. I probably can still take an Izzy here too. So these are these zones I draw every morning for myself at my trade room where important things happen. The 4 importance of charting, important areas of charting, tops and bottoms of balance areas. High volume nodes of balance areas. So that's usually the middle of it is the middle of the balance area. The directional conviction. So these big, where you see these big moves, like this is the epitome of directional conviction. And then buying and selling tails. So that's where I will draw these zones as they happen. And then I look for what? Stop iceberg events in those areas in that direction. So I could put on an Izzy here. It's kind of breaking above that, so I didn't put that one on, but I do have an Izzy short on. Again, this is a great example. This just chart looks like this market's going to rip off the page, right? But what is the most important is what's happening real time. This event was bearish. So I actually went short one of my strategies. I got out of my longs and went short, even though I think something's going to happen. I let the real-time volume tell me if it's happening or not, and that's how I trade, right? So it doesn't matter what I think is going to happen. I let the real-time volume tell me. So if this market was truly bullish right now, then we shouldn't be getting bearish events. So that's why I'm short the slug. This is setting up for another trading strategy. So when a market does have an event and it continues to try to tag the ATR below and can't go, many times when it gets back above the zone, it rips, right? So this is another trading strategy. So as I'm showing these trading strategies, this goes for, you guys in Bookmap land and people in my trade room. It's not to come in here and take all 16 or 20 of these strategies, right? It's to pick a couple and get really good at them, get profitable at them, and then add them as you go. I can take them all because these are my trading strategies over my 25 years of trading, right? So that trade I was showing you was FBB. I'm sorry, that is a trade I took earlier, but the one I was just talking about was hot knife through butter. Take trades off SI events that attempt 2 or more, 1 ATR or more moves out of the zone. Trade is taken when the market moves back through the zone and tick outside of the 10% of the ATR. So all that's saying is this is telling you something. If it continues to tag the ATR below and can't go, when it gets back above the zone, so right there, I will jump in it with the normal stops. So when you look at this chart, it looks like there's 5 million things on this chart. There is 5 million things on the chart, but it's not complicated, right? All this is the event fires off, and then I know where the ATR is. That's the blue line. And I know where my entry, if I'm going to go short, I enter right outside of an ATR because I know the propensity for these markets to snap the market back at the ATRs. That's what we have a trade for that as well. We'll get into that. But that's why I enter just outside of the ATR. And then if I go short, then my stop's way up here, right? So that is the best way that I've deemed from trading these things for 8+ years. The best way not to get algoed. Algo trade is 80%, 85% or more of the activity in here, right? So these algos can see just like we can see when there's nothing happening, and then they start to whipsaw traders to death, right? And take your money. This is a zero-sum game. That's exactly what's happening. If you don't think that's why what they're doing is trying to take your money, then you're in the wrong business, because that's exactly what's happening. That's how they thrive and survive, is by taking the retail traders' money. So anyway, that's that activity. So when I if I do go short, my stop is, if I'm going to be wrong on this trade, so I am short right now, right? If I'm going to be wrong on this trade, I'm forcing it to move the ATR back. I'm forcing it to get through the volume event where there's trap traders. That's the whole methodology of the trade, of trading these things. Then I'm forcing it to push another ATR plus out of the zone, and then I say uncle. So all that is built in. So everything I'm doing here is how traders fail by not doing the correct things. As far as the reason they fail is not having this information, or not knowing. For instance, like say you wanted to get short. Okay, well, where do I go short? Do I go short like right where I think to go short, or is there a reason to go short? That tells you, right? So if I get the event, if it proves to be bearish, I get in there. It tells me where to get in, tells me where to get out. That's another thing traders don't do, is put their stops in, or know where to put their stops in. So again, from trading 5 million of these things over the last 8 years, this is the best way that I've deemed to trade them. And then the other major thing is for traders is the position sizing. Most traders trade way too big for their accounts. then they have a bad day, which has been happening very, very often lately with these ridiculous headlines, right? So we're at all-time low liquidity in the order book. Why do you think that is? Because the same things that are happening to us as retail traders are happening to these big money funds and houses and firms that have orders in the order book, and they get run over with these headlines. So we are at all-time low liquidity because of these firms don't want to put that kind of risk in the order book. So it's just been very, very trying. I forgot where I was going with that. Actually, give me a second. I got to text my wife to bring me up some aspirin. My head is pounding all of a sudden. All right. So I'm short crude. So I kind of went over why I'm forcing the market to do what I do to get out. Oh, so I was getting into the position sizing things, right? So it's very easy to blow out your account if you're over trading your account, and trust me, you will get burned if you're over trading your account, especially in this environment. So this is set up to. This is my zone drawing tool. It's an add-on in the Bookmap marketplace. We'll go over all this. Let me actually post this in the YouTube channel. So this is all my info here. This is everything I'm using in my trading. We'll go over these one by one as the webinar goes on. And if you got questions, throw them in YouTube, because that's all I really see during these webinars. I don't have time to look at Discord and YouTube, so throw them in YouTube, please. All right, let's see what's going on here. These other markets. All right, so this is a bearish event in yes, I'm already short the Izzy from way up there. I already went over that trade, right? The inflection zone trade. Now this event proved bearish, right? Tag the ATR, which is pretty elevated right now. It's almost 9, which is actually a good thing for us because it's been horrible trade lately. We got the retest. So this is the pattern for the bark and the lick trade. Blind ATR retest confirmed. Why do I say blind? Because remember I said at the beginning of the webinar, I look for these events in important areas. Well, the edge is inherent in this event, right? So I want to be able to participate when I see these events, even if they're not in my important areas, but I demand certain factors to take this trade. So for this to go short, it got the ATR. I want to see a retest of the area, and you can see that's exactly where it failed. And when it comes back, I will go short. The only thing I demand other than that to take this trade is algo guy. This is an exponential moving average. I need this in the direction of that trade because they have so many. We call it algo guy for a reason. So many algos trade off of this. So this is again exponential moving average. The blue is the short-term exponential moving average ribbon bands, time periods. The red is our longer term. So when this crosses, or if it's bearish, then more algos are playing these cascade moves down, and they really play when this thing crosses, right? So this is crossing basically right now, so it's bearish. So I will take bark and lick shorts, which are just more of my trading strategies here, right? Bark, blind, ATR, retest confirmed. Take any trade with SI volume event that has an ATR retest confirmed. Algo guy must be trending in the same direction to take the trade, right? So then the lick is the same thing as a bark, but with the lick, I'm holding the trade until we get to heavy resting liquidity. So if I put this lick on, you can see in the order book, this heavy resting liquidity here that's been in here for a while, and those are like magnets, right? It's big money in the order book. All the liquidity showing you here is the activity in the order book, the dome depth of market, right? So I see a big band of heavy resting liquidity in there. So if I got short that, this isn't the best as far as risk reward. I would get out if it struggled here, but let's see if we got anything lower than that for, yeah, so you can see there's other bands here.
Time now at the bottom of the hour, we see the release of the weekly EIA natural gas storage change. Forecast is for a build of 130.
So if this market comes ATR retest confirm, I'm going to put on bark and lick, and the lick I would watch that as one of my targets, and that's GEX1 as well. That's the biggest gamma area on the board where dealers are going to be hedging. And then if it got through there, I'd look for this liquidity for those targets for that specific trade. But the bark and lick are the same trades. The lick, I just will hold it. I won't get out of my other important areas. Hold it to liquidity. And when I'm talking about important areas, so this is straight out of Trading Zone, the book by Mark Douglas. I've obviously added my own stuff. But as my trades move in my favor, these are the areas where I'll piece out as the market gets there, right? If the market struggles at these areas, right? So obviously lovely levels like I was talking about here. Why is that not? Liquidity levels, market composite, highs, lows, POCs. We'll go over all this stuff. VWAP, extreme standard deviation, spot gamma levels, monthly Q levels. So these are all areas where I'll watch when I'm in a trade. If it gets to those areas and it can't get through, I pay myself as the market makes money available to me, right? So that's, but the lick trade, I will hold through any of those areas I just showed you and hold it for the major liquidity trade. So it's a good risk reward trade. It doesn't always get to the lick, but it does more often than not. Why? Because this is the big money, and the big money gets what they want. They push the market to their orders. How do I know that? Because that's the game I used to play. I used to load up the order book with, at the time I would put like, you know, yes, there used to be these used to be 1,000 lots in here. Now it's like 50 lots. It's insane. But I would load it up, and you would, if it was nowadays, you would see my orders in here with heavy resting liquidity, right? And then what I would do is I'd start testing the waters, right? Because I have resting bids, so I'd sell. If no one's responding, then I would step on the gas and try to push it into my orders sitting in the order book. Once it got down there, and then as it came down, I would also load up the order book above it to kind of scare the trade into my resting orders, right? This was called spoofing back in the day. Back in the day, it's still called spoofing. Back in the day, it was not illegal. So I would play this game all the time. So I would load up the order book with offers to push it into my bids, and I get out of the trade, yank my offers, and then the market would just, it'd be like a vacuum, right? So I was hated across the street back in the day, that, you know, the trading community, because of the games I used to play with the market. Kind of like I'm getting paid back nowadays with these algos that are doing the same thing to me that I used to do to the trading community, but back then it was legal, and that's how I made my millions of dollars, just playing those order book games all day long. So that's how I know, or have a good inclination of what's going on in here with the algos, and you can see the algos at full force right now. They know nothing's going on in here, and now this is when they start this nonsense. But anyway, this is why I got something on cue, but this is what all my strategies are based off of. It's not me just guessing what's happening. I used to do the stuff that I'm teaching, right? So that's what, you know, gives me the authority to kind of tell you guys and give you a heads up to help you beat the man. Again, we got Dow stops too. Buy stops and NQ and Dow. Again, these firms are trying to take your money. I'm giving you guys the best method that I know of to compete against the algos and the big money. So it brings me great joy to help you fight back against the man. All right, buy stops and NQ. We'll go over some of the. I took some reversion trade. I took a sexy Gexy and a reversion trade earlier. We'll go over that here in a second.
Iran's president and the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman spoke on the phone.
All right, more headlines. All right, so the first step is to identify the volume event. These were buy stops, right? The next one for position trades is, where are we? So this is pretty close to an ISI. So I would take an ISI short here if this failed. So the market moved down here, came back right here. It's back into this inflection zone where it failed earlier, right? We have a volume event in an important area. So that is a potential ISI short if this holds and comes back, right? My entry would be way down here though. What else do we have? What other areas? The areas that I watch. Again, you can have other areas, fine. If you get an event there, then it's go time to trade it. This is a market profile, so this could be a pick trade too. What's a pick trade? Let me show you first, then we'll go over the description. So you can see this is a market profile composite. So these are just single days of market profile value areas where 70% of the trade occurred that I merged. So the more days, the more powerful it is, right? Because it's just loaded up traders in here that when it breaks out, then you get the moves. Anyway, this is a 2-day composite. And you can see we're right here at the top of it. So if I get an event at an important area, this is another important area. That's another trading strategy. That's this guy we just had ES stops to. I'm just so excited we actually have some action here today. So right here, profile called Profiles in Courage after the John F. Kennedy book. Get it? Market profile. Very witty, aren't I? Take any trade that moves into or out of a market profile composite, high or low.
At the bottom of the hour, you see the release of the EIA.
So that's what that is. So I could take that short as well.
There's a build of 113 BCF on the prior build of 101 BCF.
And this is a potential pick in ES. I just heard the stops fire off. We'll look at it in a second. Here we are. Bottom of this market profile composite right there. So if this event right now that fails, I'll take that short, and I'm still short one guy from that Izzy from earlier. So let's see what we got in the S here. So that's the stops here. I don't see any gamma levels. This kind of blew through here for a sexy Gexy trade. I'll go over that trade here in a second, but it already blew through there. I could take one off the spot gamma level if I wanted to. I kind of like when the spot gamma levels, and because I think these are the same. A lot of times are the same levels, right? I think that's supposed to be is basically what that is. So I'm not going to take this Gexy right now because there's not another level up here. Hold on, guys. Gotta get my Advil. Thank you. I have a headache because my head's about to explode because there's actually action today. All right. Let's see. Just deciding whether I want to take this or not. So again, you got to judge too, right? So I'm trying to, let me get tick strike going here too. So I'm trying to judge if I want to take this Gexy at the spot gamma level. I'll just wait, but I will take the position trading. There's a pick short in ES and NQ potential. And this is an Izzy as well. So again, my important areas. Market just moved back into this area. This is actually pretty important what happens here in ES too, because it just tried to break down of this activity. And here we are, right? So there's a couple different trades I could be taking here, especially off this stop run. So here we are back in this inflection zone with an event. If this event turns bearish, I'm going short Izzy, and I'm going short the pick trade that I just showed you. That's this dude right here. Right? You're also at VWAP and yellow lug. I don't take trades off of those, but it's just something to know because a lot of times the market will come back to obviously the VWAP. The yellow lug is like the mean or the median of the lugs. I don't take trades off of it. I will exit some positions at it, but I don't enter positions just because it seems it's always very like choppy, kind of like VWAP is. But anyway, it's just good to know when you have confluence. You got VWAP, yellow lug, and you have the bottom of the market profile composite. So that can help this trade. The more confluence you have, meaning you could just trade bigger. Like just because there's confluence doesn't mean I just throw on a trade per se. But if there's a bunch of things, I could say, hey, I want to take this short for bigger size. I know there's a bunch of things here that are going to potentially hold this market up. What the main thing that you want to watch for here, as far as structure stuff, and I wouldn't take it off of this event that just fired off. But any event, I'd say line in the sand. Remember we talked about the high volume node of a balance area. So any events above, I would put it at 59.85 quarter. I could take the fail balance break down there, and I would take all longs double size because of the setup. And this is exactly what I took in crude earlier.
And then remaining for the natural gas change.
All right, natural gas is coming out. I'm not trading natural gas currently because some reason the CME changed the symbol. Out of all the products, this is the only one they changed. It's supposed to be NGN5. They changed it to 25, and it's screwing up like everything, like the zone drawing tool, the mentor Q levels. They obviously fixed those, but I don't know what the CME is doing with that. Anyway, we're getting a fix. So if you have my zone drawing tool add-on, there will be a fix for that. But it's been a complete cluster F because they changed the symbol for one product. It makes no sense. I have no idea why they did that. Anyway, this is the trade I took in crude, the failed balance breakdown earlier. So we might have that same look here in ES. So those are the trades I have. So I have a potential short, Izzy short, pick short. If it moves a little higher, then I'll be looking for FBB longs. Actually, this entry, you could take the FBB off of this because the entry, yeah, the events here, but your entry is through that high volume node. So I would take the FBB long. What did I just film on there? All right, obviously, so you can see here, like it's not drawing the zones. There's stuff firing off. The nat gas number just came out here, but I'm not trading it right now. You could, so again, up until the last year and a half, I had to do this stuff manually. We have a spreadsheet that you enter the zone values in, right? So this is the spreadsheet. You still get access to this as part of my trade room, which you want. Like for instance, if you want to trade natural gas right now, you just have to do it manually. You have to find the activity on the event. You see all this buy ice coming in here. You find where it started, where it stopped. You draw the zone, again, this is how I used to have to do it, which was just a huge pain in the ass. You have to hit edit on the drawing tool. Then you have to hit horizontal line. I'm not going to draw this because I'm not trading it like accurately, but then you go boom, boom. Then I did this for 7 years. If you guys watch it in my past webinars, it's just a huge pain in the ass. Thank God for the zone drawing tool. Anyway, you find the top of the zone, the bottom of the zone, then you come in here and you add it into the spreadsheet. These are all the steps we used to have to take. Right? You put it in, you put the ATR. So that the zone drawing tool, all these areas on the chart, not on this one, but off of this, all these where you enter the ATR, where it's invalidated, that is in the reversion trade, are all on the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet is the zone drawing tool now, right? But you can still do this if you want to trade natural gas. You just got to go through all these steps if you have the spreadsheet. And members of my trading room get the spreadsheet for times that like you want it when it's the zone drawing tool is not working for whatever reason. It doesn't happen very often. It works very well. A trader in my trade room developed it. Guy from France, Brainiac, and I'm so happy he did because I was just worn out drawing the zones. All right. Anyway, so here's a couple of different things here. So I can now back to the reversion trade. We have a potential A+ reversion here.
Posted out the weekly VIA natural gas storage report on the feed for those.
What's an A+ reversion? Well, let me show you one that worked. Technically, this is not because I want to see the definition of a reversion trade. So what's a reversion trade? So this is like playing like an algo, right? So there's trades for every type of trader in my trade room, right? We have position trades, like I showed you that Izzy, where you hold for bigger moves. We have these auto entry trades. I haven't even showed you the Gexes yet that I've taken today. I'll show you those here in a second, where we're jumping right in the middle of the event. Then we have trades that play for the propensity to come back to these zones. This is actually, I'm going to take this, even though I'm kind of breaking my rules here. I'll go over this. So I'm going to take this real quick. Of course, I missed the exact entry. So you can see. So as you understand what you're looking at, this is not as complicated as this chart looks, right? So all this is the event. These dotted lines are the reversion lines, the ATR reversion. So this is the one ATR. It's right in front of the actual ATR because I know the propensity for these algos to snap this back in front of the ATR. That's why our entry's there. Here's the 2, here's the 3. The dashed dotted lines are the stops for the reversion trade, right? And again, going back to the spreadsheet, that's what all this is here, right? So again, the spreadsheet is the drawing tool. So anyway, what I just took there is the one ATR reversion where I'm getting on. So what I was getting at, there's a trade for everyone, right? So if you are a trader that likes to sit in trades and not in and out, and you're looking for select trades for the day and holding them, those are the position trades. You get bigger moves. Then we have the reversion trade, which is an algo, basically like you're trading like an algo. You know exactly where you're in, exactly where you're out. Because remember I was saying the position trades, I'll get out at my important areas as it moves into those areas. That's a little subjective, right? You may not have those same areas that you get out. You can learn mine. But the point is, with the reversion trade, you know exactly where you're in and exactly where you're out, and here's the position sizing. So here's the one reversion. These are each risking $500 per trade, right? So if I take the one, I know if I put on 0.9 micros, again, this is based off the big contract. You can't put on 0.9 of a big contract, but you can put on 9 micros. I know that trade, getting in here, getting out here, I'm risking $500. If I take the reversion 2, $500, or I'm going to take the reversion 3, $500, right? So you have to decide, like I said at the beginning of the webinar, what trading strategies that you want to trade. I recommend if you're going to follow me and come in my room and learn get the course and learn all the stuff in there, pick 1 or 2 position trading strategies. The slug is a great one. They're all great. They all have an edge, but some just work better than others. Obviously, the Ludwig levels are incredibly powerful in their own right, and then you add a volume event, they're crazy. For instance, this is the one I'm in right now in crude. Actually, I want to see what this one's doing. All right, so this is working. So I'm going to probably get out. This is a small profit here. Let's see what we got going here for profit. Yeah, nothing right now. But you want to watch these areas. So I don't base whether I'm getting out based on my profit, right? The market doesn't care about my profit. The market cares about important areas. So if it gets down to the top of this guy and can't get through, you see it just bounced off baby lug. But the bottom of this is probably real close to VWAP. I'll probably get out of a couple of these, right? Especially because I'm bullish too. You can also use your judgment on the market structure to decide. So if this gets down here and can't bust into this market profile composite, right around 47,
says the US again should remove negative measures.
Here we go, guys. Here come the headlines. Ay. All right, I'm probably gonna step out of this ES reversion again. I shouldn't even have taken it. Let me just get out of this because I just don't want to be getting smushed on trades when I'm, especially reversion trades when guys are talking.
With readouts that US and China should increase cooperation on the economy and trade. Again, US and China should.
Because this is our new trading environment. This is what it's just every single day, every 5 minutes, there's some ridiculous headline that just jolts the markets. All right, so anyway, I'm supposed to be short here. I'll put on short. I'll put on position trades with guys talking. I'm fine with that, but you don't probably want to put on reversion trades.
Well, the US and China should reduce misunderstandings.
So what did I say here? Izzy? This is still risky, right? I'm putting this stuff on with this guy, Cheese saying something. So based on my risk, I could put on 4 Izzy shorts, and I could put on the 4 picks. Again, I'm probably going to get blown out of this because if he says something that's positive for the tariff stuff, here's an ATR reversion and an NQ too. So this, guys, you just got to deal with it.
China implemented the Geneva Agreement.
All right, so I just got out of the reversion because he's talking. I kind of took a small loss on that, but the reversion just worked in NQ again. This one worked. This was actually A+, so I missed this one. That's a little upsetting. Again, I'm not mad because I just got done saying don't trade with these guys talking. A lot of times you don't know they're going to start talking. Anyway, this was an A+ reversion, right? Here's your one. So what's an A+ reversion? So the markets have this ridiculous propensity to snap back to the zone as it is, right? And then when you add a prior event in there where traders are trapped, it just helps it because it comes down there and these guys want out, that whoever's holding their breath wants out when it comes back. All right, so again, guys, this is all over the place because of this whatever's being said right now. So trade with caution. Anyway, this did work. I just missed it. I was over there looking at the ES and going over that stuff. So this is another thing on these webinars. I missed so many trades because I'm going over stuff. That was the entry. So the A+, the reversion is as long as the entry is in front of or into the prior event and the stop is below, and you can see the stop down there, that's A+. So if my trade room should have been watching that and taking that trade. Again, what I should have done, because this is before the Cheese started talking, I should already have my order just working there, and that would have worked out for me. So I panicked out of the ES. That one's probably going to work too. I never did get stopped out of it, but there you go. So, and then what other trade do we have here? Again, just pretend this Cheese not talking, right? Whatever the hell his name is. This is a back in black too, because we know dealers are hedging at these GEX levels. You can wait for the market to tag something important and then take the corresponding reversions back to the zone. So those worked also. So again, I panicked out. I just got out of the reversion because I heard he was talking. I didn't feel like getting smoked on it, right? Even though I should have just had my stop in. I didn't get stopped out. I got in out right here, but this is where the stop was supposed to be. Anyway, that did work. And then if I was on NQ, that worked too. So you can see, like, there's a trade for everyone. If you're new in here, you're like, what is going on? I'm just covering all these different trade strategies. So that one was both the A+ reversion and NQ. All right, he's just continues to talk. So usually it's Scheinbox from Mexico. I call her Scheinbox. She never shuts up. It's usually her. Putin was talking yesterday. Trump talks nonstop, and now you got Xi, whatever the hell his name is, from China. It's not fun to trade. But I did take these shorts in ES. That was my decision. Stop is up here, so I got short there. Stop's up here. Remember we were talking about the Izzy and the pick shorts, and I can easily get blown out of this if he says one more positive thing. This thing's going to rip off the page. So it sucks for me.
President Xi says both sides should enhance exchanges.
And he's still talking. So that exit for these shorts is 91.
Two sides should enhance exchanges in diplomatic, economic, trade, military, and law enforcement.
All right, so you can see here, this is the squawk channel of my trade room too. This is financial juice. You can see it, guys. It's just like you're in, you just got to hope this doesn't go on while you have a trade on, right? Or, yeah, you can get lucky, but I would say 98% of them are against me for some reason. But you have no control over that. It's one thing trading when you know guys are going to talk. Like you can see here all these, for instance, like if you know all these Fed dudes are talking, you know, you got to accept the risk because one word out of their mouth is like a brand new number. The market, all bets are off. The market could rip the other way. So like right now, you know he's talking. It would probably be better off just not trading right now, right? So I'm on a trading webinar. I'm going to show you that, you know, I'm going to trade. And I'm okay with position trades when they're talking. The reversion trades and like the sexy gexies and stuff, you want to be very careful taking those trades when these guys are talking. But reversion trade, for me to be wrong here, this thing's got to come all, you know, I'm in there on the pick and the Izzy. It's got to come all the way back here to stop me out. I'm okay with putting those on. But I'll still bitch if that happens, if I stop out of it because of the, you know, constant headlines. But this is the environment we're in. You know, when it's going to end, I don't know. I'm really hoping it doesn't last 4 years for Trump's entire presidency because it's been absolutely brutal. Bao.
And says that she and Trump agreed to start a new round of talks.
Here we go.
Again, China's President Xi and Trump agreed to start a new round of talks.
Getting brutal, guys. It's just brutal. This is just all headlines. All right, so I'm going to stop out of these shorts here. I didn't get any. There was nothing to do on the long side, but going forward now, I'm really watching. I'm going to be trading double-sized longs, and not based on what they're saying. This is a failed balance breakdowns of these balance areas. And I'm trading any longs double size here. That's just brutal. So they're saying there's an agreement with the tariff stuff. I mean, it's brutal, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, and again, I got out of my version trade because I knew he was talking, and I elected to put those shorts on, and you know I got to accept. Of course, it was the tick stop out too. I got to accept it. That's fine. On to the next trade. But if you can, you know, you got to make a decision, like I said, whether you're going to trade with these guys when you know they're talking. Most of the time, you don't even know they're going to talk. That's where it really sucks. You can hear we're hitting tick extremes as well.
Both sides should make good use of the established economic and trade consultation mechanism.
So you see the NYSE is hitting extreme tick, and so is the NASDAQ. Hasn't hit it yet, but it's pretty close. All right, so enough of the bitching. Got stopped out of the shorts there. You know, I still had some good trades so far today. I'm still short the crude slug, but now going forward, it's onward and upward. Now, this is any event now. I get a new event that shows bullish. I'm taking a failed balance breakdown, FBB long, and any other long. So if I get a bark, ATR retest confirm, lick, ATR retest confirm. I'm taking everything double size based on what I'm seeing with the, it has nothing to do with the news, right? Like you're never going to be able to trade off the news, ever. Like by the time you hear it, it's already baked into the market. So by the time you heard him reading this whatever the last positive thing that the China dude just said, then it's already baked in. The market ripped 22 points on it, right? So the point is I'm bullish. My thesis, my guess, this is what a thesis is very bullish, but you don't see me going long yet, right? Why? Well, this event proved bearish and bullish, so there's nothing for me to do. So this event is dead to me. Next event I get, if it's bullish, I'm firing to the upside, or firing on longs. Same with NASDAQ. Like there's nothing to do here. And I did miss this A+ reversion. This one did hurt. I should have had this in the order book, and I would have been filled immediately and right back to the zone, but it sucks for me. All right, so while we're waiting for a new event, what I did take earlier.
The US and China should avoid conflicts because of Taiwan.
God, how long is this guy going to talk, man? Then here as well, this is what I'm talking about. She just talks all day. Does she ever work? Just sits around and talks. Here we go. Here's another one. Shinebox. Talk steel tariff. So get ready for that too. For some reason, Mexico controls our markets more than China does, which is nuts, but that's just what's going on. All right, anyway, I did take earlier, I took two sexy gexies here just to go over these trades in NQ. The first one I took, so the sexy gexie is one of the only trades where I will enter smack dab in the middle of the zone. Remember I talked about waiting for the market to move out?
Should avoid a very small number of Taiwan independent separatists dragging China and the US into dangerous situations.
Yeah, see, here we go. Now he's saying something about Taiwan. Now the market's selling off. It's just like, guys, you can't trade this. Like, you just got to basically wait for him to be done talking, right? So then he said something about Taiwan. Market sells off 15 points, 12 points. Like, It's just brutal. Unless you know what he's going to say, good luck. Anyway, coming down here, I did take a sexy Gexy. The first one was a loser. So it came down. So again, I entered right when this fired off. So I'm looking for an opposing event into these Gex levels, right? Because I already know the dealers are going to be hedging here. And I got my volume event. So its opposing event would be sell stops into the Gex level or buy ice. And we got both of those. I took that. This was news related too, but I didn't know at the time. But I lost on that one. Then I got another one here. I'm sorry, that wasn't sell stops. That was buy stops. But I took it off of this guy, I think. I can't remember, but I lost on it. And then we had another one into this Gex 3 sell stops. You can see I jumped in. It was right there. So the way I trade these sexy Gexys. Now Trump's on Truth Social. It's insanity, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Trump says, I just concluded a very good phone call with Xi of China discussing some of the intricacies of our recently made and agreed to trade deal. The call lasted approximately 1.5 hours and resulted in a very positive conclusion for both countries. There should be no longer any questions respecting the complexity of the rare earth products. I expect the teams will be meeting shortly at the location to be...
I was just trying to hear what he's saying. So did you like my preemptive Advil that I took too? Because I knew this crap was going to start happening like it does every day. Anyways, sell stops into Gex 3. I already know the dealers are going to react there. Doesn't mean they're all, it's always going to bounce off there because if the bigger money comes in, it can run right through these dealers. But I took the sexy Gexy. The way I trade this is that I'm out, first move out of the zone, right in front of the ATR, and then I hold a piece for the bigger move. I got out of that because there was an A+ reversion here too at the time. So I got out of some there, and then it came up to the revert. Actually, I got out of all of them. I'm sorry. I got out because this was into this event, and then I took the A+ reversion back to the zone, and you can see I was out there. So I got out of the Gexy, A+ reversion, so those were all winners. First one was a loser, and then the rest were winners, and that's what that is. We'll go over some more here if we get more. There's going to be more events here, guys. There's going to be some stop runs going forward. It's got to be, because there's probably a lot of guys that got short. You can see all this activity. You can always judge, too, if there's going to be probably decent trade with this relative volume. All right, so if you can see this every relative volume. So pre-market, you had all this stuff, right? And now you got more. This is the talk. So this bigger area for both NASDAQ and ES, this is basically a line in the sand, right? Like, a lot of longs are invested in air. They felt the pain. You saw the stop run, so a lot of guys were getting out. But the point is, there's been a lot of heavy relative volume in this range. I mean, it's a 50-point range. I'm not trading off this. I'm just saying visually, like if this gets above here, this thing's going to probably rip huge. If it gets back below, it's going to rip huge. Just thesis-wise, right? So keep that in mind if it breaks at those levels. All right, let's see where we're at though. For the next events that fire off. But you see, guys, I'm not like chasing the market. I'm not just throwing in orders because it's moving around, right? Just because we're getting activity. I'm waiting for specific stop iceberg events in my specific important areas. If we don't get that, I don't trade, right? How many traders are jumping in right now like, oh yeah, this thing's going high. Oh no. Oh yeah. They're getting whipsawed by these algos. I wait for my volume events. All right, I got to take a breath. Let's see if we got any questions. Trade with Nish. Hi, Scott. This is my first time joining. First time caller, long time listener. Nish. That's from The Simpsons. Hi, Scott. This is my first time joining your stream. Would you be covering basics here? I cover more basics than normal, like in my trade room, but I'm still trading live and getting, watching this whipsaw nonsense. So yeah, I'm still going over it pretty quickly. Well, that's a great segue into this. So guys, this is why I made these courses, so you can, learn this stuff before you start to trade it and trying to watch me and follow me. So these are the two new courses. So the main course, I get this all the time. What courses should I take? This is my main course, right? This is the Stop Iceberg. Oh, that's the video. I'll watch that here. I'll show you on this instead. What happened to it? I didn't know I had it. Did I X out of it? Hold on. I know I had it up here. I just like showing it in this fashion so you guys can kind of see what it entails. Nothing's going on right now anyway, as the whipsaw continues. All right, so these are the 3 courses, right? So my main course is obviously the Stop Iceberg Indicator course. It says 2023, 2024. It's the same. They're doing the same exact thing now, so it should be 2025. I could change that. So this is showing you the 6 distinct setups, or teaching you the 6 distinct setups that I trade off of, right? And then it goes over settings. It goes over how to draw the zones manually, like we were talking about, like I had to do a long time ago without the zone drawing tool. So settings, product thresholds, right? So each product has its own threshold. So, you know, meaning trade-worthy contract amounts, right? So if I see 150 in ES, I don't even pay attention, stops or icebergs. If I see 150 in NQ, that's trade-worthy, right? So that's what the thresholds are. So I have product thresholds for 20 plus products, futures products. How to adjust the thresholds on certain days. And then you have the settings, sweeps indicator, and then how to draw the zones, right? This is when I had to do it manually, which you want to know how to do because there's times you have to combine zones, things like that. And then now the zone drawing tool makes everything much easier, which gives you everything, all the values. We've been talking about that the entire day. And then these are the 6 distinct setups. So this is what I'm looking for, these setups in important areas. The dumb and dumber. Dumb and dumber is when you get a stop run that fails. It's usually the stop run is usually retail traders puking out of positions, right? Kind of like this one at first, right? It moved in here, buy stops, failed. You know, before the news stuff started happening. Stop and holds. When you get a stop run and it holds, it's telling you something, right? So it's moving up, you get a stop run and it holds, and then the big money comes behind it, right? That's stop and hold. Then we have a Titanic. These are all very technical terms. What's a Titanic? It's when you get like for instance, this was a Titanic setup in gold here. I didn't do anything in gold. It was a little too crazy earlier, but you can see the market moved down into multiple areas of buy ice. So icebergs are hidden orders in the order book because the big money can't put in big orders because the algos will run the market away from their orders. So they have to hide them. So the CME allows big money. They even let the retail trader do it too. It's more expensive. But you don't need an icebergs if you're trading small size. When you're trading big size, you can't just throw in 1,000 lot in here, right, or 500, because the algos will front run you and try to make these people chase it, or these entities chase it. So the icebergs, all they have to display is like 10% of the. What's going on here? I thought my internet went down because there's nothing happening all of a sudden. Anyway, they only have to display a portion, and then once it's traded into, the rest populates. So that's why they're called icebergs. So the Titanic is when the market moves into, like running into the iceberg, get it? Right? And then rejects. So that was actually a great trade at the time that ripped out of there. So the point is, what I'm looking for is each one of these events, and we did have a step bros. This is the 6th wonder of the world, the unicorn, like I was saying. You don't see them very often. That was crude earlier. That was this event. That's where I went long all those trades I was talking about earlier, right? You had buy stops with buy ice. That's what it should do. And if it doesn't do that, then watch out below, like bigger moves. But that's exactly what should happen. And then I looked for my trading strategies. So for the course-wise, this is the main course that explains everything that I'm doing with the iceberg event. Then the newer courses, the ATR reversion course. So I showed you guys a couple of those trades, right? So this is more of a scalp trade. It's for traders that want to scalp. This is the best scalping method that I've seen, right? Because I'm not a proponent of scalping anymore, guys. I made millions of dollars scalping. If I can scalp making millions of dollars, why wouldn't I be doing it? So the reason is because you can't do it anymore unless you can click as fast as a computer. I am not as fast as a computer, never was, but at one time I was able to run the show in here. Now you can't do it, so you get all these traders that want to trade off the dome, up the market. It's just, you're not going to be successful doing it long term. There's no chance. Even if you're quick enough to play with computers, you're going to churn your account with commissions and you got no chance. So anyway, the ATR reversion strategy is the best scalping type of trade, and we've already seen a couple of them, right? This is the one I bailed on, but it still worked, right? Where you're looking for returns back to the volume event. They happen with ridiculous. I can show you 30 of them today alone across these markets, right? When it tags the 1, the 2, or the 3 ATR and comes back to the zone. Well, which one do you take? I don't know. Some days the 1s work nonstop. Some days the 2s work nonstop. Some days the 2s and 1s and the 2s get blown out. The 3s are the right ones. The point is, no matter what strategy you're trading, ATR position, all it is probabilities. You just have to continue to take the trade. So if you're going to focus on the 1 and you want to take it aggressively, meaning as the market moves into it, you've got to take every single 1 ATR trade that you see, or else you're just trading randomly. If you're going to focus on the 2, that's fine. But you got to be okay if you're like, and here's actually the winning percentages for the ATRs quickly. Right, so this is my trade room. Right. Hey, we got some guys participating finally. Good job. I'm going to give Nick a thumbs up there. So I was making fun of my trade room earlier. I said, hey, look, the teacher's pet profitable trader, Dune Runner, is the one participating. So I rip on, you guys heard me at the beginning of the webinar, I rip on traders for not participating because that's how you get better. CT is getting better. But anyway, what I wanted to show you here is the actual winning percentages, or what are the break-even percentages for these ATR trades, right? So where's that? Somewhere in here, Jay LeBron, here we go. So if you take the 1, what's the percentages? Well, this one's a lower percentage. You're risking, trading terms, that looks terrible, right? You're risking 1.5 to make 1. That's not good. But, and you have to be 60% trader just to break even on that 1 ATR entry, right? Or this way, whatever way. From watching thousands of these, I'd say this is 70. Guys have done the stats in the room too, and I got this trading at a trading firm too. I don't have the stats on it yet, but the point is, it's at least 70% or more. So you're gonna, there's an edge, right? It's a probability. Nothing is certain. The 2 is better. You're risking 1 to make 1.38, and you only have to be a 42% trader to break even. So what I was getting at here, that's all fine and good, right? Say you're like, find a market that did the 1, right? So say you're like sitting here, okay, well, why would I take the 1? Why wouldn't I just look for the 2 and just take those? That's a better winning percentage, because you might not get filled. If I'm waiting for the 2, here's the 1, see the retest. Well, I'm only looking for the first retest, then I don't take them anymore. So you're shit out of luck, pardon my language. If you're waiting for the 2, it hits the 1, it's back to the zone. You're like, damn, I was waiting for the 2 there on my better winning percentage, but it never got there. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you have to commit to whatever one you're going to trade and then take every single one. And then we have variations of the reversion trade. Back in blacks, where you're looking for it to bounce off an area, and that's exactly what happened here, where it bounced off the GEX 5 in the blind spot. These are these gamma levels, and then you take the corresponding ATRs as they come back. That's the one I like to trade, because it feels like a more secure trade. 1, 2, the aggressive ones you got to be on top of, right? You got to be taking every one and watching. This, at least I can see it bounce off an area and take them as they come back. That's called the back door. The back in black, the backdoor ATR reversion. So the point is, all of these are in here in the course, right? Here you go, back in black, A+. You can do A+ is off prior event, A+ is off entry. So that is the ATR reversion course. And then the last course, all my trading strategies. These are looking for the bigger type of moves, right? Now we got Lutnick talking too. It's just unbelievable. At least we know he's coming out. Yeah, he's testifying here in a couple minutes. Anyway, you can see here all these trading strategies I've been showing you here. That's what is in here. Every one of these are in the position trading strategy course, even the auto fades, right? So those are the 3 courses you can see. Dizzy, Red Rum, Pick, Slug, I Love You, Dada, Hell, Fail Balance Breakout, Breaking Bad. We've done some of these today already, obviously. And here's the auto entry trades: the Sexy Gexy, the TikTok, the Flowbee. We've done the Sexy Gexy here. I showed the Sexy Gexy. We didn't get these today. Trade X here. I even put something in for the mental game, which I am not the best at. I freely admit that I am kind of a mental midget sometimes, because it's just human nature. But anyway, so the thing is, I'll bitch, guys. That's how I get it out. I tell you guys every webinar, right? That's my way. I just talk. I talk. That's how I get it out, right? I don't do anything stupid per se in the market, but I'll talk stupid, right? I'll just bitch. I'm like, oh, here we go. There's a camera in my office. They're watching where I get it. That's just me getting it out so my head doesn't explode, right? Other people have other methods. You may have to go for a walk or punch a punchy bag. Hopefully not your screens like I used to, but that's my point. I do have a pretty sound mental trading game. I don't do anything stupid in the market, but I will bitch nonstop. So if you come to my trade room, get ready to listen to me bitch, because I'm trading live and it gets really annoying. Kind of like you hear me bitching about the headlines today. Anyway, the 3 ATR is almost a 2-to-1 trade. You only have to be a 34% winning percentage, but again, you're not always going to get the 3, and it's going to go back to the zone, and you're going to be pissed that you didn't take one of the reversions, right? So you got to decide which ones you're going to take. All right. So anyway, those are the courses. Trade with niche. That's what I was getting at. That's why I showed that. Like, if you want the basics, then get one of those, depending on your trading personality, and learn. And then when you watch my webinars, you just can follow along because I'm trading, fast, live. Tom Quimby, interesting insight. Thank you. I don't know which one you're talking about, but you're welcome. Bow. It says 404 error when I click on the Google Docs. Yeah, the Google Docs guys are the things I'm showing you here. That's all part of my trade room, right? So you don't get the trading strategies. I mean, you can see them right here, but that's part of my trade room. The reversion, the calculator is part of my trade room. So if you join my trade room, you get all this stuff for free. Actually, forgot to read spot gamma today too here. All right, so there has not been a new event here yet. I'm just waiting for the next event. Any event I get in here in ES and NQ, I'm taking FBBs, and any event that proves bullish, I'm taking double size. Like this one's already gone, so I'm not going to take an FBB here, right? This didn't really fail balance breakdown anyway, but that was a breaking away trade, BA I call it. When you break out of a balance, the only other condition I demand there is heavy relative volume, and I think that's what we got anyway. So, but there wasn't an event to take. There was not a bullish event. So I got this heavy relative volume here. I could have taken that if there was an event. So that's another question people say. Like one of my traders in my trade room the other day, like I caught a bark and a lick at an AM webinar on NASDAQ, and they were great trades, and there was huge winners. It was like a 200-300 point winner. But then there was like event. This was the other day, and I forgot where it was here. It might have been on this. I can't remember. But the point is, there was like event that never retested, another event and never retested. And he's like, well, how do I get in those trades? Well, for me, none of my strategies fit getting in aggressively for those particular trades. So I just, I already had a long on, but even if I didn't, if it doesn't fit my strategies, I don't put on the trade. So that's up to you to figure out what strategies you want to take. And again, some of these are aggressive entries, right? Meaning I get in, see where it says aggressive? So like the slug trade in crude, I will get in, and this was an I lug you too, by the way. There was sell ice up here. So like the slug trades, I get in first move out of the event. So here's the trading, here's the stop iceberg event, first move out, I'm in. There's other ones I demand the ATR retest confirm, right? So I already put that slug on. I should be short right here. I lug you too. Why? Because we got sell ice into the red lug when it came back here again. So I need to put this short on too. Again, crude feels like it's going to rip off the page, but these events are proving bearish right now. That is the most important thing. What is happening right now? I don't care what my opinion is. The market doesn't care what my opinion is. I care that there was sell ice here that turned bearish. I should be short. I lug you. That's this trade right here, which I'm going to put on right now because I missed it, but it's still up where the entry would have been. Right here. I lug you. Iceberg at the lug. Hold on, let me put that guy in. 215 is it? So I'm trading all of these different strategies on different accounts. I use Apex to trade these different strategies. So again, that's another thing too. If you have one account, obviously you can be having conflicting trades, right? You can be long slug, you can be taking a short ATR reversion. So what I recommend is, this is the Apex Trader, the trader funding, right? This is the one I've used for 3+ years. I've been paid many times. There's traders in my room that's been paid. They do what they say they're going to do. That's why I use them. It's the one I put my name behind. I know they're a dime a dozen these days. It's the one that I used, right? That's in here. So if you get it, and if you're learning my stuff or anything new, I highly recommend, and even if you're not learning in this market environment, you do not want to be risking your own money on these ridiculous headlines every 5 minutes. Get one of these. So like here's a perfect example. Like today, so I take on these trade of 8 ones, I take the reversion trades, the A+ reversion. So like this one today is up $2,000. This one's up $2,500, right? So you got to qualify. So just quickly while we're on these, so these are $150,000 accounts, right? So I have to make $9,000 in profit before I lose $5,000, right? So that is the catch for these, and they all do it, right? Where you can be up money. So you can see here it's the same thing. So right here, see the 9,000, 5,000 as it scrolls off the screen right there, right? So that's all fine and good, but I can't tell you how many, I can't even tell you at this point over almost 4 years of trading these, live and not, where you hit, like I'll be up, it'll come up. I remember I'm trying to make 9 grand, and I'll get up to like 8,900 bucks, right? And then I'll pull back to 5,000. Then I lose the account, right? Well, that's obviously not real. Like if you had a real account, I'd still be up 3,900 bucks. So that's the one drawback. But there's more positives than drawbacks on these things, right? So especially in this market environment. So get this if you're learning something new, or even again if you're not, so you don't blow out your own accounts. And when you get, then if you are practicing, right, you do have skin in the game. You have to put something down, and again, use my affiliate code. That helps me too. That's my payback for you guys that I'm giving you free webinars. Pulcini 50, right? So you get their discount. So you're going to trade real. You're not going to sit there and just throw caution to the wind because it's a sim account. It is a sim account, but you have money on the line, so you're going to be at least a little more disciplined, right? So, and then if you get these for practice purposes, and then you do well, now you're funded anyway, and you don't have to risk your own money anyway. So there's a no-brainer, in my opinion. It's the best way to get funded. Again, I wish they had these things. There was only one back in the day. That's when I was starting to go downhill in my trading, right? When it was basically over. I started going downhill in 2007, and I hung on for another 6 years trying to reinvent my style. And if I would have had Bookmap back then, it would have been a whole another story. But I didn't. But I did get to see Bookmap in 2017, 18, and that's what got me back in the game. This is the most powerful thing you can use in your trading. Then when you throw this stop iceberg information, I've never seen anything more powerful. So that's what got me back in the game. So anyway, that's the Apex stuff. I am short crude, I lug you and slug, and there still has been nothing in ES, or NQ. I think I heard something in Russell, but I missed that. Let's see what we missed there. So I can bitch about that a little bit. But see, guys, like until I get something, I don't trade. I don't participate with these algos. And this, by the way, is the price change algo. We can go over that too. That's Market Pulse. That's pretty incredible too, especially in dead markets, which has been absolutely horrible up until today for weeks. Let's see what we got in Russell here. So this was a broken ice event. Right, so we had sell ice down here. It didn't work out too well for them, right? So again, I'm looking. These areas are just areas of. They always get like, well, you don't know what they're doing there. Maybe they're hedging. Maybe they're getting out of their longs or whatever, shorts. I don't care. I know it's areas of concentrated traders, and I know the propensity for these markets to come back to the zone, just like that. I know for it when it moves away, you got trap traders, and that helps propel it away. Those are the position trades. So I don't care. You're never going to know. I can't tell you how many traders waste their time trying to understand. Well, there's sell ice here. Do you think they're hedging their gamma for their options? And I don't care. I care about the area and the patterns around that area, and they are consistent across all futures markets. Why? Because all traders react the same way when they're screwed, and these algos react the same way, pushing it back to the zone, so on and so forth. So anyway, this was a good example of the one ATR that worked. He never got filled on the 2. That's that dotted line, but came back to the zone. ATR retest confirmed. Could have potentially put on bark and licks. I don't think so. Algo guy wasn't bullish, so I didn't miss anything in that aspect. But what else did I miss here? It's probably an Izzy trade, I would bet. Let's see. That was. So guys, these zones are incredible too. I draw them. They're not rocket science, but the market moved down into this zone. Could have taken it Izzy long. Missed that trade. Let's see what else I missed. And so I'm showing this, guys, not to just bitch. I'm just showing you these areas and how well this stuff works, right? That was an I lug you, a variation. So an I lug you, we just took one in crude, but if I would have got buy ice, you can jump in first, move out. If it was sell ice, you could still take the I lug you. You need to see ATR retest confirm, and there that is right there. I missed that one. And then looks like I missed a pick here too. So I missed 3 awesome longs here as well. No pick down here, but I missed an I lug you and an Izzy long. So this is just to show you, right? Like important area, volume event, prove bullish. You'd be in those. I would too if I wasn't concentrating on crappy NASDAQ and ES. All right. Any questions? Throw them in YouTube, please. Richard Fowler, how many monitors do you recommend for trading only ES? I'm struggling, flicking between Bookmap and TradingView. Not sure if it's my my inner bitch. I genuinely need 2 monitors. Well, first of all, Richard, if you're going to be following this stuff and you're going to be using this Stop Iceberg stuff and follow what I'm doing, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself just into crappy ES, right? Because there's going to be day, and there's been a ton of them. Remember, I was talking about the lowest liquidity ever in these markets, meaning the big money's not playing in here lately because they don't want to. Just the reason we're getting run over, they're getting run over, like I talked about earlier. So you don't want to just be watching one market. If you're caught, you're doing yourself a disservice with all. I mean, I can show you every single market, all these strategies, reversions in every market that I watch. Right, gold. We already looked at crude, natural gas. I didn't draw. This didn't draw. We've talked about this because of the symbol. Let's look at some of these other more obscure markets. So we heard something. There was Dow. There was bonds. Hold on. Let's just go across the board here. Dow. Let's see what I missed in this guy. You got the reversion. I don't have the GEX levels on here. I got it. You can put them on TradingView. I just didn't get a chance. But there's events in there. Copper. I don't think there's anything in copper today, but I do watch it. Right. So you see, I don't care what market's in it. I know it's volume events, and I trade it. Right. Wheat. What happened in wheat? Sell ice to start. The buy ice came in. Here's your ATR retest confirmed. You could have taken a reversion trade. It's just they're all over the place. There was stuff earlier here. Soybeans. Same thing. Buy ice, ripped out of there. Here's some sell ice. You got potential. That's not an A+ reversion, but I could take a trade here in soybeans right now if I want to. Maybe I will. We'll come back here in a second. Silver. Look at that. Dumb and Dumber. Held, ripped apart. Hey, look at this. Is this here? Let me bring the GEX levels up here too. Did that come back to the zone there? Oh, look at that. I don't think I've ever seen it except for 500 times a day. Let's see if it bounced off some GEX levels on top of it. So it's another great thing about Mentor Q. Go to my website. Hopefully that code's working, guys. The code in the document on my website, if it's not the discount code, if it's not working, let me know because they just switched their affiliate program. So you can get 40% off the year. These things are incredible. Spot Gamma is incredible as well, but Mentor Q's got them for all these different markets. It's so you're going to see. Watch, we'll bring this up. I guarantee this market is reacting a lot of this movement's reacting at the GEX levels. Why is it not showing me the GEX level? Here we go. It's actually above a lot. We had a big gap. So there was nothing GEX-wise up here. But the point is, you can get them for all these different markets. Here's bonds. Oh, look at that. Events. Look at that. Retesting. There's actually only one event here. That hasn't retested yet, but you can bring the GEX levels here too. Why are the GEX levels important? Because you got to adapt. Like I never paid attention to the GEX stuff, right? I mean, we didn't really have anything until the last few years. There was nothing to even really watch them. But they are increasingly, when you watch Fabio's webinar or Brent from Spot Gamma, they show the explosion of these options, these zero date to expirations options activity. Well, when the dealers get loaded up with options, they have to hedge themselves with the futures. So it's a big deal. They are a big entity in these markets, and you want to know these areas and where they're participating. Like, look, even without an event here, look where this market bounced earlier. Broke through it, came back, held it, right? So you got to know, you got to understand. I don't claim to be an options guru. I'm getting better at understanding like the inner works of it, but I don't need to just know these levels. I know the dealers are going to be hedging there, right? And I know the propensity for it to bounce, and if it rips through, it's telling you something, so on and so forth. So who's talking now? We got some shine box going. And then the other thing, this is Spot Gamma. We haven't even looked at this today. They've got the real-time hero. This is the options activity going on. You can look at all trades or the next expiration. So again, next expiration is a 0 date to expiration. Right? So this is important to know when you get a hero alert. We call it Flow B. We haven't put one of those on today, but so say the options activity is moving higher. That's this blue line, purple, whatever, and you get Flow alert. Well, that means a big options transaction just occurred. Many times once this levels out, then the market, which is the white, will turn around. So we have a trade for that. So you see, guys, I have all these different strategies. It's not to follow each one. Pick a couple and really focus it. You can say all I'm focused on is Floby and a Sexy Gexy, and then you just wait for those trades, right? I recommend a couple from each and get really good at them and start adding them as you go. Let's see. So thank you, Richard. So whoever's on here last week, I kind of went off on him, and I felt bad the next day because he was saying, remember I was saying how, I get it all the time, how, I feel like I'm drinking from fire hose. You're covering stuff too quick. There's too much that I'm looking at here. I understand that, guys, but I'm trading multiple products, multiple strategies, and I'm trying to show you guys all the different strategies and stuff. And it's live trading. This isn't like after the fact trading, so I can't go slow. So I kind of went off on a guy last week. If he's on here, I apologize. I kind of went. It's more of a culmination of listening to that every day. And I understand. I know I talk fast and everything else, but I don't know what else to do in live markets, right? So anyway, I appreciate the compliment. That they're, again, guys, take it for what it is. I'm showing you guys these edges. You're seeing this stuff basically for nothing, right? So be thankful that you're seeing another view of these markets and what's really going on in here. By the way, we just got buy stops and oh my God, who is talking now?
3.5% for core defense spending and 1.5% in defense and security related investments. And it does right hand designated will remain a nuclear alliance as long as nuclear weapons exist.
All right, so I don't know. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter who's talking. It's nonstop. Anyway, I could potentially take a sexy Gexy here. This is a variation as long as there's not heavy relative volume coming in right now. You see the buy stops run. This is the strongest Gex level on the board too. So there's a way I can enter this. This is an auto entry trade. Again, it doesn't have to be right into the zone. This is, though. If it doesn't blow through, I'm going to take this sexy Gexy short here. And guys, I just got done saying how bullish this looks, right? But this is my strategy. I don't know what's going to happen next. If I knew what was happening next, I would be, like I always say, I'd be on a island with Billy Ray Valentine. If you guys understand the Trading Places reference. I don't. So all I know is my strategies, my rules around the strategy. I'm just giving this a second to see how I'm using this to kind of judge if this is going to blow through this Gex level. Then I won't take the trade, right? You got to use some judgment. So if this gets quiet, this starts pulling back a little bit, I'm going to take the sexy Gexy short. If not, the main trade, I don't want to miss a trade here, but yes. All right, that's blowing through here. Same thing with ES here, but see how it's blowing through, so I don't have to take these. But I am going to take a failed balance breakout like I've been talking about in ES. All right, so something's being said something similar as usual, but this is exactly what I was waiting for. So now this market, here's the balance area, tried to break down, volume event. I'm jumping in that puppy, and I'm taking double-sized longs and everything. So I didn't take the Gexys here, so I didn't need, you could see, look at all the blue bubbles, the market buying. This thing's going ape shit, as my grandpa Choosh used to say, right? So you just stay away. I'm not taking it. It blew right through this guy, and it's telling you something too. If it blows through the Gex 1 with ease, it's telling you something bigger picture too. So what I'm probably going to do here is I'm just going to combine these, right? So you got buy stops at 8:16 my time, 8:17. So these were all basically puke, 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 right? So I'm just going to combine all these and trade off of this event. And again, I guarantee this is somebody chirping somewhere. But it doesn't really matter what the reason is. Let's get rid of that one. Let's bring this one down. So this is another beauty of this zone drawing tool. And this is available in the Bookmap Marketplace. You get 20% off as well to the subscription as one of my Trade Room members. And you get discounts to the courses too as my Trade Room member based on your subscription. All right, so I could potentially still take this trade because of all this activity is right in it. I mean, it's a little bit above it. I'll give it a chance. Like if this comes back below it, I'll give it a shot. But it's already kind of through there. So other than that, what do we have next? Well, we can take reversion trades. We can take position trades. Like if this fails, this is probably an IZZY. I'm sure it's an IZZY. Right into this inflection zone, one of my important areas. Right? So I know my area. Now I'm looking for an event. Here's the event. Am I just jumping in a short? No, I need to see this fail out of the event. This helps you stay away from a lot of...
Trump is due to be greeting Germany's Chancellor Merz at the White House. There is a live video, which is just a...
So now he's meeting
White House,
Germany's Merz, Trump.
Also, at the bottom of the hour, the US is due to be selling 4-week bills, selling $65 billion worth. The prior high yield was 4.215%, and the private cover was 2.92%.
All right. So there's different trades we can take here depending on how this moves out of here. I don't know if I want to take this Gexy with... I think someone's talking. Remember I said about someone talking? Oh, here. I really don't. Why? What's a disqualifier for the sexy Gexy? heavy relative volume. What are we getting? Heavy relative volume. So I do not mess with GEX levels hoping the dealers react there. They are reacting, but they're getting overpowered by the big money coming in. Not taking that GEXy. This is a potential. Let me see here. Yeah, this is a composite. You know, if this fails, I can take a pick and an ISI short. Meaning if it moves an ATR back out of this area, see how we're right here? This is today's trade.
The ECB officials expect rate cuts to be paused
Right here.
before the meeting.
Event is right there, right? Am I short? No, because I need to see my rules. I need to see this thing move back out of here, an ATR. If this fails and comes back, I will go short, pick an ISI at this price, the short aggressive price. That price is just outside of an ATR. That's the best way to enter these trades. Again, guys, I would love for you art traders rolling your eyes at me, your risk reward. You're what? You're waiting for there and your stops up there. That's horrible risk reward. No kidding. But the point is, this is the best way to avoid the nonsense and to prove to me that this is actually a bearish event, right? So that sizing is based on this entry and this exit. I'm fine with that, right? Because I know, trust me, I would love to just jump in the middle of these zones for all these trades. I have a couple that I do, but most of them I wait. Why? It's from trading 4 million of these things over the last 8 years. If you watch these things, if you watch 4 million of them and you come up with a better method, I'd love to hear it. But when I first started watching this stuff, I knew how powerful it was. I didn't know exactly the best way to trade it. So I would jump into the middle of the zone and I would get wiped out. I would wait for it to just break outside of the zone. It just was not consistent enough. The best way that I've determined, again, that's why you're on the webinar, to hear my viewpoint from my 25 years of experience being a multi-million-dollar trader at one time. I have the experience, right? It's not glory days, but my point is you want to maybe listen to what I'm telling you. The best way to enter these trades is to wait for the ATR plus out of the, and this is all contingent on that. So now we have sell ice up here too. I'm just going to combine these into it. This is a double whammy. What's a double whammy? Dumb money puking into the waiting hands of sell ice. So if I really wanted to be aggressive here, I could just trade this independently, right? And say, you know what? Here's sell ice. Here's my entry. In this market condition, I just got done talking about how bullish this market looks structure-wise. I'm not going to sit there and split hairs. I'm going to make this one zone because this is basically right on top of each other. And you see there was some sell ice coming in here too as it moved up here. So I'm going to make this one zone and then trade off that. If this fails, then great. Then I'm going to go short. If it turns out to be bullish, then I'm going to be trading double-sized longs on at least my bark and lick trades. And I'm going to take a double-sized FBB and long in ES. If I can get over there. So we're going to trade ES for you, Richard, since you love staring at that crappy market by itself. But guys, the more you watch this stuff, the more you're going to be like, yeah, I'm doing myself a disservice just staring at one market, right? No matter what market that is, because this stuff happens everywhere. All right, so we'll come back to this. There's nothing really. It's just sitting in here. If this moves out of here, I'm going to enter the FBB trade in ES. So it's a decent ATR. So my entry is not till up here, right? And I'm going to take a double size. We already went over this trade. I remember I was already going over it before that event happened. And I did say, get ready, there's going to be some stop runs, and there is. So anyway, this entry is kind of far from that. You know, I like to see the event like here and then the entry there, but I'm still going to take failed balance breakout. Balance, tried to break down, couldn't go. Once it gets to the high volume node, which is just the middle of a balance area where the most trade occurred, first event, jump in long. And I'm taking this double size too, because this thing looks like it's going to the moon until I get long, and then there's a bearish headline and I get smoked. 609, and you can see all these you can hover over this to see it. Look at the bottom left there, 609.75, or you can get it on here too. You can get it on as both, right? 609.75, and I could put on 4, risking $500 because of my thesis is in line with the event as a bullish event. If this does get up here, I'm going to put on double size.
Trump is due to be greeting Germany's Chancellor.
And then you got to deal with Trump coming out talking too. So I'm going to put on 10. This changed too. So I changed this and I changed my entry until I get filled. Now the entry's at 609. This is adjusting to the ATR, the average true range. Most important thing you can watch as far as volatility. The markets care about two things, volume and volatility. So I will go long at 609. I'm going to put on 10 or one full one. But you don't want to trade just one big contract because then you're in or out of everything when it starts to move in your favor. I like to take 10 micros and take 3 off in an area, take 3 off in another area. right? 609. All right, I'll put on FBB there, along there. Whoops, what did I do there? All right, that's working. What else do we have? We have potential reversion trades, right? So I'm going to go long FBB. I would go long Mark and Lick as well. If it did touches the ATR, retest, confirm. Let's see if there's liquidity up here, up higher. There's a little bit here, but I wouldn't trade to that one, right? Because that's where my entry is. This one's good enough. I would take it. That would be my target for the Lick trade, at least part of it. What about reversions? I could take. So again, I like to take the back and blacks. This isn't an A pluser because this guy got an 8. So this zone's dead to me, right? So the A plus, again, the definition of it is when you get event, the market moves into these respective reversions as long as the stop for the reversion's on the other side, right? So this one would be good. But I don't like to see that prior event tagging the ATR below and then coming back. I don't want to be messing. Actually, that in this case, it wouldn't be a bad idea. So just pretend that didn't happen. I would probably take this ATR reversion. Here's your entry. Here's your stop. As long as the stop's outside of there, that's an A plus reversion, especially in this market environment. And then I could take the back and blacks off these Gex levels too, coming back, right? So if it comes up here, tags it, I would be going long my FBB, but I would take reversion shorts as it tags this stuff. These dealers react, not hopefully, but if it does, then I can take the respective 1 ATR back to the zone and out. All right. Richard Fowler. Are you Ricky Fowler? Are you not golfing today and you're on my webinar? That'd be really cool if you were actually Ricky Fowler. If not, you better be good at golf. Just kidding. Tom Quimby, this is a great session. Thanks, guys. So, see, that makes me happy. Then I don't have to give guys verbal lashings. You know, I'm giving you my knowledge, right? It's not saying everything I do is correct, but you're getting... The whole point is you don't have to go through 25 years of pain. You know, I've had both glory and pain, but the whole point is you can learn from my, the good stuff and the bad stuff. I tell my traders all the time, all the mistakes I made and continue to make, right? You learn from it, so you don't have to go through that, and then you just fast track your way to, you model me. They call it modeling. Anthony Robbins calls it modeling. KP, how do you interpret that thick liquidity around ES 6000? Where we're at right now? Well, first of all, these are algos playing games right now. You can just see them. All this is you're seeing is these guys playing game. But thick, heavy resting liquidity is usually a magnet. By the way, I'm getting out of some of these crude shorts at this GEX. It kind of blew through there, but it's kind of hanging around here. Remember, we took ILUG-U and SLUG, and we're pretty close to a prior event. So these are all areas that I get out. We already covered this, right? Of course, I told you there's a camera in my office. You see that? The minute I start talking about the damn thing, it starts to rip away. Cheaters. All right, I had 15 on, I'm out of 5. Five of each, slug in it, yes. And stop watching me, camera. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the areas I get out, and this is a prior event too. So if it comes down to this prior event and starts to struggle, I'm going to get out of some more of those. But I got out of some at the GEX 4 level here. So it was, it's not a huge trade. But again, guys, I'd love for this trade to be a 5-hour trade. But when I see it struggling at important areas, I'm not just going to pretend that's not there, hoping that'll happen. I'm going to get out of some of them. You see how it's reacting? I'm out of some. If it comes all the way back, great, I covered some. See? Told you. Now we got an event there because everyone on the planet, all the big traders are watching what I'm doing. Just kidding. This is a sexy Gexy, right? Moved in. This is the one issue. This is a pretty new trade. Like, I like Gex levels that haven't been touched the entire day. I don't really like them when the market's been trading through them and then they come and you get the ice because it's kind of not like relevant. I mean, these dealers have been hedging all day. So I'm not going to take that one, especially because this market looks so bullish too. Again, I like fresh ones when it comes to the Gex level for the first time. Those are what it's meant to be. Not to say this won't work, but you could take that one. But more importantly, I can now trail my short to this most recent event. This is how I trail my stops. This is another huge error that traders make. I'm in. Oh, I got some. I'm moving my stop to break even just in case that comes back. I don't want to get back my profit and make this a loser. The market doesn't care what you want to get back or lose or make. The market cares about what's going on in the market. So I'm trailing. My stop for this guy was up here. Bring it all the way down to there based on a new event. So it pops up there. This is a bullish event, and I'm out of my shorts. That exit is at, and I just got out of some at this SKEX level, and I'll exit the remaining 63.77. Somebody's texting me too. In my room. Alright, that's it. Alright, we're at the time too, guys. You got any questions, throw them in.
Watching trade policy for impact on the euro area economy.
Who is
US
texting me
Commerce
here?
Secretary Lutnick says the US will train 5 million US workers for chip factories.
Hold on. Let's check. That is hilarious. Sale camera is live in your office. You already know that, dude runner. It's a given. It's given the equation. How do I learn to trade order flow? Cairo. Have you not been watching the webinar, Cairo? You are trading order flow in a way. But you don't want to trade. I already talked about this. I used to be one of the biggest order flow traders on the planet. Why am I not doing it anymore? Because it's impossible. Good luck trying to trade the dome. You got no chance. Send me your P&L after 6 months or a year and show me you're profitable, and then I'll send you I'll put up a shrine in my office for you, because it's that impossible doing it by hand. The best way to trade order flow, and what we're doing, this is order flow per se, are the volume events and their ATRs and everything else. All right, so anyway, I'm going to take FBB longs, double size. If it goes ATR, retest confirm, position trading, I'm taking Bark and Lick, double size. This is ES for all you ES lovers, crappiest market out there. And then I could take reversion trades back to that. NASDAQ just had another event here. So this actually, you could take an A+ reversion here too. Remember, I combined all this activity here. So if this comes back, here's your entry. Stops outside of it. That's A+ reversion working there. On the flip side, as far as reversions, you can take off of these X levels up here. Say this puppy moves up here, take the corresponding ATR reversions back. This is the best way to trade order flow, Cairo. I'm showing you, like to scalp. Then position trading wise, if this fails, or if this fails, I got an IZZY and a pick. We already talked about those. But if it turns bullish, I could take Bark and Lick longs. I'm going to take those double size because of my thesis. All right, guys, so lots gone on. We haven't put a ton of trades on. I put a bunch on in the morning. Kind of went over those. But the point is, this is, trade's been horrible. This has been the best day in weeks, if not months. It's a little scary going into the summertime, how bad it's probably going to be. We have trades for those too. There's this price change algo. I wasn't able to get into this. Market Pulse, this is incredible too, where you can scalp that too. That's more advanced though. I don't even like talking about it on these webinars because I want you guys to understand this is the most powerful stuff you can use in your trading. All right, I do this every day. My trade room, it's supposed to be twice a day, but every afternoon sucks, so it's usually just the mornings lately. And then every Thursday, I'll be back here next Thursday to do it again. Thank you guys, appreciate it. I'll see you next Thursday.